Emeka Egbuka. Emeka Egbuka is passionate and driven to be the leader Ohio State needs him to be.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Tuesday edition of Locked On Buckeyes here on Tuesday, May 21st in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and I'd like to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every day. The everydayers have been a part of an abnormal offseason here at Locked On Buckeyes. Normally, there's a lot of news we are reacting to. In an offseason that had a lot of news in December, in January, in February. Honestly, post-spring practice, the news has not been rolling like normal, which is okay. Not a problem with that. It's actually kind of odd because it's happening because we're used to so many things hitting our news feeds, being Ohio State Buckeye fans, but that's not this offseason. But one thing going on this offseason is Emeka Egbuka and the drive he has to be the leader that Ohio State needs him to be. And I said this statement once, I will say it again, and I'll probably say it a few more times this offseason. Ohio State desperately needs Egbuka's leadership this upcoming season. So for him to be passionate and also driven to be the best leader the Buckeyes need him to be, that is huge. Because think about what Ohio State has in that wide receiver room. Not much experience. Outside of Egbuka, yeah, Bowers played a little bit, literally a cup of coffee. There may have been another receiver here or there. Cardinal Tate, Brandon Ennis played a little bit last year, but nobody has the experience of Egbuka. Nobody has even the multi-year starting experience that he has. Now you add in the numbers and you add in if he went to the NFL draft this year, he would have been drafted even though he got hurt a year ago. There are a lot of good things on his name that he has done on his resume. There's a lot of guys in Ohio State's wide receiver room that we believe are talented. Jeremiah Smith being one of them, who has not played in the shoe in a regular season game. But everyone, myself included, believes he will do big things wearing the scarlet and gray. That's just one of the reasons why the Buckeyes need Egbuka's leadership in the upcoming season. And Egbuka spoke about this in the spring and even talked about why he is driven to be a leader at Ohio State. Quote, I've always felt like a leader ever since I was growing up. The leadership role is something that I feel a lot of pride about in any area of my life. But something I'm so passionate about, such as football, I feel even more drive to be a leader. So being that I'm the older guy in my fourth year, I have a lot of experience on the field. I'm just trying to pass down that knowledge that I've acquired and accumulated over these last 4 years, kind of just keep the track record of Zone 6 that we have going, end quote. That's spoken like a man that has thought about this, that this is not just his first rodeo, and understands the words coming out of his mouth, and a very smart individual. Not many people that I know, or maybe you know, or have heard of, will say that, hey, they have felt like a leader ever since they were growing up. That's not a normal statement to make. And then to say, yeah, with that leadership, when it comes to something I'm passionate about, there's even more drive to be a leader. Think about what that means for Brian Hartline, for Ryan Day, for Jeremiah Smith, for Cardinal Tate, for Brandon Ennis, for Jayden Ballard and Kojo Antwi. Think about what it means for those guys. They have a guy that has been here, done that, done amazing things in that number 2 jersey. And also, he also wants to help keep that track record going at Ohio State of Zone 6. So it's not just him trying to lead for the upcoming season. It's him trying to make sure that down the road, that Zone 6, the reputation that the Buckeyes wide receivers currently have, is kept up. And there's no fall off. It's staying where it currently is and moving up. Getting at that level and moving up again. Getting at that level, sustaining it and moving up, sustain and move up, sustain and move up. That is what he is striving to do. And I believe that's a mindset that shows a lot of maturity for him, because you see him. There are videos of him out. You can follow him on the socials. What will you find? He's not some guy just out here acting a fool. He's not out here doing immature things on the field or even off the field. You don't hear anybody inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center saying negative things about Emeka Egbuka. What are people saying about him? He's a great young man. He is representing Ohio State in the way that we want players to represent Ohio State. He is doing the right things. He's going to be a good person in society. These are things people are saying about Emeka Egbuka, which is why when he makes a statement, when he talks about his leadership role, and also why he is so driven by it, you believe him. Now, when it comes to the younger guys, especially the sophomores that are going to play, and Jeremiah Smith, the only freshman that's going to play, when it comes to those guys and their need and desire for Egbuka's leadership, it's easier to fall in under what someone is saying when they're not acting a fool all the time, where they're taking care of their business, they're showing up to work, they're taking care of their body physically, taking care of their health, putting the right things inside of their body, making sure they get the proper therapy and recovery and their methods there. They know, they see, oh, so this is what it takes to be an elite wide receiver in college football. On the field in practice, on game day, but also off the field in recovery, also in the classroom. When they see a man doing that, they're more compelled to realize, oh, whoa, okay, I understand now. I understand exactly what you're talking about. It's not just saying it without action. It's the actions that back up what you're saying. And Brian Smith, Locked On recruiting analyst, said it all the time, especially in recruiting. Athletes and sometimes even parents will just say things. Do the actions that the players make back up the words that they say, or maybe even their parents say? Because we all know actions speak louder than words. That's a statement, that's a phrase, that's going to be something I believe, and you, hopefully you believe. And if you don't believe it, I hope you pick that thing up quickly and run with it the rest of your life, because actions speak louder than words. And that's one thing that when it comes to these younger receivers, they're not just going to hear Egbuka say this. They're going to see what he is doing. They're going to see what he was about. They're going to see that he's about that action. What action? The action of being an elite wide receiver that's taking care of stuff in the classroom, on the field, in recovery, in life. That's what they're looking for. And so, yes, it's a great luxury, one, that Ohio State has Egbuka this season, because he could have easily left and gone to the NFL draft. I'm glad he's still in that scarlet and gray. But number two, it's also a great luxury that not that he's on the team, but that he has a plan, he has a thought to make sure that Egbuka is going to. Egbuka has the plan to help kind of just keep the track record of Zone 6 that we have going. That's it. Keep the track record. And while keeping the track record, that's a sustaining thing. I believe he will do that. I believe he's the right man to lead this room. And I cannot wait to see what Egbuka, Tate, Ennis, Smith, and other wide receivers at Ohio State do in the upcoming season while being led on the field by number 2, Emeka Egbuka. Now, Emeka Egbuka is going to be a great leader for Ohio State, but is it wise for Ohio State to move him all over the field? I'll tell you why it is next. This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the process easier. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on the YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. One thing about Ohio State this year is that having Emeka Egbuka is great, but also they have the ability to move him all around the field in the upcoming season. And I have this just simple question that I've been thinking about myself for a long period of time. Should Ohio State move Emeka Egbuka all over the field, play him in the slot, play him on the outside, but also potentially use him as a punt returner or kick returner? I say yes to all of that. Play him on the outside, play him in the slot, and play him in the return game. Now, I know it's not the popular thing or opinion by many to play a guy that's the caliber of Egbuka, who's easily one of the guys that will be drafted. A lot of people will say, save him. Save his body. Don't put him back there in danger's way. Don't put him there. Let somebody else, one of the younger guys that's not on the field a lot, let them return. Okay, cool. But if Egbuka is one of your best options, this is the only way I want to say this. Not saying it's an automatic thing, yes. But if he's one of your best options there, cool. Put consideration into him doing it. Now, if he's not one of your top 3, top 4, okay, cool. Move on. If he's top 4, top 3, and there are 2 other guys that are clearly better, play them over Egbuka. But I would say it would be a little foolish to not consider him if he is one of the better options for the role. Now, when it comes to slot receiver and an outside receiver, coming into college, he had only played. Let me go back to this really quickly and get my notes so I am not misspeaking. Coming into college, he never played the slot before. And so you may say, Jay, well, if he never played the slot before, why do it in college? Because maybe he can, and he does. And honestly, Brian Hartline realized some guys in college, your guy just puts you on the outside and says, look, go out there, cook. We'll figure everything else out. You do your thing. We ain't got to move you all over the field. Just do your thing, and we'll win games, and you'll get your numbers, and you'll go to play at Ohio State, and you don't have to move all over the field. Well, in college, it's a little bit different because defensive coordinators are a whole lot smarter. And so Brian Hartline knows that when it comes to Emeka Egbuka, it's not so much that he can do it, but he does it so well, it would be a little foolish to not put him out there in the slot and on the outside occasionally. Here's Brian Hartline talking about this very topic. Quote, he's capable of doing whatever you want to get done. I think it's the growth of Brandon, the growth of Bryson Rodgers that's really allowing my mind to say, hey, Mech, be prepared. You're going to move around a lot. You're going to come out of that slot. You're going to be outside. We're going to create mismatches out there. I mean, his ability to move around is critical because I would say between Mech and between Carnell Tate's ability to move around a lot, it's going to provide a lot of flexibility for our room, end quote. Spoken like a man that knows exactly what he was talking about. When you have a guy like Emeka Egbuka and Brian Hartline even throws Cardinal Tate's ability to move around, it's going to provide a lot of flexibility for our room and nightmares for the opposing defensive coordinator. Think about if you are any defensive coordinator out there and you have to deal with, okay, cool. Emeka Egbuka, he's not just an outside receiver. He can play slot. He can move around a lot. He can even line up in the backfield. That's a walking nightmare. Now, I grew up, I want to go back a little bit to my childhood. I grew up watching the Indianapolis Colts. And Peyton Manning was a quarterback. He was a dog, first ballot, all that good stuff. Edgerrin James was a running back. He was a dog from gold teeth to gold jacket. I love that. I love watching him play. Now, on the outside, you had Reggie Wayne on one side. You had Marvin Harrison Sr. on the other, and they did not move at all. Now, that did help with the no huddle, and even though as opposing defensive coordinators dealing with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and occasionally and eventually Dallas Clark and Brandon Stokely and Edgerrin James and eventually Joseph Adai, like you're dealing with a lot of guys that pose a lot of threats, even though they don't move on all sides of the ball. But you had Marvin Harrison Sr. on one side, Reggie Wayne on the other, and it was still a walking and living nightmare for opposing DCs because they struggled to figure out how to defend these guys. And to think about if Marvin Harrison Sr. and Reggie Wayne moved around all over the field. Now, Reggie Wayne did move a lot, quite a bit. Harrison Sr. did not move at all. I think Harrison Sr. was the stick figure. That's what I was thinking of. Was the stick figure there? Just like, hey, starting here. This is where I am. We'll figure everything else out. That was what I was used to. Not that I was it works. I was cool with it. But if you have a guy out there that can be just so good, could be so lethal, could be so elite, and can play multiple positions, it's similar to basketball, where they say it's positionless basketball. Now, you still have your positions. Your shooting guard, your small forward, they're not the same as they used to be. Your power forward, your center, they're not the same as they used to be. They're more versatile. Your point guard is one that is similar to the way it used to be, but there's still different skill sets of point guards today than they had 10, 15, 20 years ago. But all in all, you have, hey, if you have a guy that can play multiple positions and do them so well that it's almost to the point that you are forced to do it, to move them around, do it. It's that simple. Just make it happen. And in the process, what is it going to do for younger receivers? It's providing a blueprint of what you can do, proving it to coach in practice, and all of a sudden in practice showing coach that, hey, this is what I can do. This is how well I can do it. Do you want anything else from me? If they say no, great, cool. They just keep on rolling. But if coach says, hey, I want more from you, and what he wants more of you, he wants you to do more of the things you just started showing you could do consistently, which is what? Moving all over the field. I know I got tongue-tied there. Not really thinking that was going to happen, but here we are. No, this is perfect. This is great. And I would actually move Egbuka around all the time, not just in big games, not just in Big Ten games, not just in games in the conference championship game or the playoff or the natty. No, move him around all the time. Because one, you want to get him used to moving around a lot and get him used to figuring things out in that way, which I mean, he has before. He'll do it again. But also, you don't want to let defensive coordinators be able to look at a guy, see what his alignment is, and say, oh, well, figured it out. We know exactly what he's going to be doing. Why? Based on his alignment. I am a person. I can look generally, not all the time. It's not foolproof, but I can generally look at an offensive lineman, even while watching the game on television, and say, homie is going to be pulling, homie's going to be pass blocking, homie's going to be run blocking. I could generally see a lot of that stuff. Why? Just from the training of the eye. Now, I'm not, like I said, it's not always perfect, and sometimes pulling isn't always one of those things that you can always see either. However, sometimes you can. And so when it comes to Egbuka, and he has the same stance, the same get off every time, no matter where he is, and defensive coordinators are like, look, a lot of guys, we can just tip him off. We can say, oh, this is a run. This is a pass. This is going to the right. This is going directly to him. Why? Based off their stance, based off their get off, the first 2 or 3 steps off at the snap of the ball. You can generally tell that. Now, if Egbuka can move all over the field and keep that consistency where the opposing defensive coordinator has no idea what's coming, that, my friends, is going to cause nightmares, migraines, and a lot of big wins for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, speaking of Egbuka stepping up and him moving all over the field, what other players need to lead their position rooms? I'll tell you about a few next. This episode is brought to you by Yahoo Finance. Wouldn't it be great if you could see all of your investment and retirement accounts in one place? With Yahoo Finance, you can consolidate your views from multiple accounts into one hub and access the expert analysis you need to tend to your entire portfolio with confidence. Let's get straight to the point. You want to grow your portfolio to deal with the rising costs of inflation, to pay off your debt or your mortgage, pretty much anything standing in the way of you and your financial freedom, right? With Yahoo Finance, you can get access to the news, data, and tools that you need in order to help reach that financial freedom. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. Whether you're a seasoned investor or are looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. They are the number one finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analyst ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and so much more. For comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. The number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. One thing that I mentioned that a few times, but not enough times, is a great way for you to connect with this show in a deeper way. It's through our subtext service. And subtext is a great way for you to get Ohio State news, updates, and analysis sent right to your phone via a text message. Yes, it is that simple. To sign up, just send the text to 614-587-7853. Once again, that is 614-587-7853. When there's breaking news, a text will be sent. When there is something going on as far as something internal, maybe a Ryan Day is gone, nothing is going to happen, or a coach is coming in, that may happen soon. Something will be sent to your phone. It's a great way to keep up with recruiting, Ohio State football news, maybe updates and depth charts of things that I don't share on the show, or maybe you'll hear it before the show. You'll get it sent right to your phone. Also, when you sign up, there's a 14-day free trial. And we all know after that, it is $3.99. Not much at all to get Ohio State news and updates sent right to your phone to allow you to help be connected to the show in a greater way. Remember, send a text to 614-587-7853. Once again, that's 614-587-7853. And when you sign up, you will get a 14-day free trial. I am always in my mind thinking about players and who can step up, who will lead, why they are needed to lead, and maybe what's going to happen if they don't. My brain is working in so many different ways. Remember earlier in the show when I mentioned, hey, this offseason is not like most off seasons at Ohio State. There's a lot of news in a short period of time. The draft is completed, spring practice is done, and what do we have now? We got a long stretch in May and June and leading into Big Ten Media Days where, hey, what are we doing? The news that we would normally have, there's a lot of stuff going on at Ohio State. We don't normally have it. Now, we got some recruiting coming up. Another reason to sign up for that text to keep up with all the things going on with the official visits. But, man, there is so much stuff going on. And in the midst of this, I'm thinking about what players need to step up at Ohio State. And honestly, when I was saying this, there's one guy that's on my mind. And every day has realized his name came up in yesterday's show, not in a great or deep way, but his name still came up. It's Cody Simon. He's the first guy on my list of guys that need to step up and who need to lead in their room. Think about what Cody Simon is dealing with right now in the linebacker room. It's very similar to what Emeka Egbuka is leading right now in the wide receiver room. In the linebacker room at Ohio State, what do you have? You have a couple guys, 3 guys at the top that are expected to play in some capacity. Cody Simon, the seasoned vet. Sonny Styles moving from safety to linebacker. CJ Hicks, people expect him to be good at some point, but has not gotten on the field consistently at all. And it really is one that you're not really sure what you're going to get when he's on the field. So Cody Simon is needed to step up. And I do think him staying at Ohio State will, one, help him be able to raise his draft stock if he plays the way that we think he can play, think he will play. But also, two, James Laurinaitis can use this opportunity for Simon to lead the young guys. I can't forget Gabe Powers either as being one of those guys that's younger, hasn't really played, but maybe asked to play a little bit. Then you want to throw in Mitchell Melton, who's more of a hybrid guy, might be a defensive end, might be the jack position. What do you need? You need somebody in this room that is well respected. You need someone in this room that can get everyone's attention. You need someone in this room that can be an extension of the coach, and that is Cody Simon. Not the most athletic guy, not the most rangy guy going sideline to sideline the quickest, not the best linebacker in coverage, but what is he? Solid. Really, really solid. And in a season where the linebacker play last year was not what it was a couple of years ago, some people believe that Cody Simon was at times the best linebacker at Ohio State. Now, I have not gone that far, and I will never go that far. But with it being a thought out there, and there's some traction to it, it makes you actually stop and think, oh, was he? Huh, okay. And it makes you think in that way. Another guy that I think needs to step up, who I don't think will be a starter for Ohio State, is G. Scott Jr. Now, his situation is a little bit different. Came into Ohio State as a really highly sought after wide receiver that really didn't translate to the wide receiver position like he thought it was going to, or many people thought it was going to. And honestly, he wouldn't have gotten on the field as quickly as he did if he did not switch to tight end. Transitioned, he had to bulk up and add weight in season. And you know that in season it's hard to bulk up and add the weight. You do it in the offseason. But he has put on weight. I think he's up to 235, maybe 240 right now. And you can easily see, well, looking at him out there on the field, he has put on that weight. Now, you may want to say, Jay, if you don't think he's going to start, why does he need to lead? Because you don't have to start to be a leader. Nobody has ever said that, hey, if you're not starting, you can't lead. That's never been said. And if somebody says that to you, just simply say to them, hey, that don't make no sense. I get why you're saying that. But sometimes the guys that are the best leaders aren't the guys that are right there in front of you, aren't the guys that are right there on the field doing all the best stuff. Some of the best leaders are guys that are locker room guys that are well-respected inside the locker room and can confront somebody when they do something wrong and say, hey, man, look, that ain't it. You ain't acting right. You ain't doing that play right. That was a wrong read. That was a wrong step. Here's what needs to happen. And it's not about their ability on the field. It's about the respect that they have amongst their peers. I think Cody Simon and G. Scott Jr. are a couple guys that need to step up and lead in a big way at Ohio State. And a couple other ones on defense, Lathan Ransom, Denzel Burke. Now, I think Burke and Ransom are going to be the leaders and are ready for that role. So it's not like this saying like these are lesser guys. Both of those guys will get drafted. I don't think G. Scott Jr. is going to. Honestly, I don't think he would probably get an undrafted free agent signing either. I don't think either one of those would happen unless he blows up this upcoming season. And Cody Simon could get drafted. I think he could get a UDFA after the draft. But even then, I don't think he's going to be a day 2 pick, a second or third round pick, even if he plays phenomenal ball this upcoming season. I think the limitations to his game cause him to do that. So when it comes to Ransom and Burke, it's simply their experience and them staying back. And the defense is going to need guys like them, and the whole team will say, hey, look, we came back with one mission in mind. We had unfinished business, and y'all need to fall in line, follow the leaders, which are us, the upperclassmen, as we strive to accomplish this goal to get the monkeys off our back, accomplish our goals, beat the team up north, win the conference, win the natty. Let us finish our business because so far it has been unfinished. We're out of here, y'all. Out of here on a Tuesday. Got some good stuff coming your way this week, and you don't want to miss a lot of the good stuff coming up. Remember, I said we're going to talk more quarterbacks and other positions. Well, here's one of them, and we sprinkled a few into today's show. You're going to want to stick around for more good stuff like this coming your way right here on Locked On Buckeyes. This has been Locked On, but no. Can't close the show just yet. Because I gotta let you know where to follow me on X, which is at jstevens07. Send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. Now, here we go. This has been Locked On Buckeyes here on a Tuesday. We'll see you next time.